Welcome to the OC Bitches.
Welcome to the OC Bitches. How are you?
Thank you.
This fine day.
I'm good. I'm really good, actually. I'm in a pretty good space. So to do this today was a good call. Good call. Yeah.
It was a good call. Well, let's tell our listeners who's talking right now, because we are so happy to have the Patrick Norris. One of our favorite directors, I mean, personally, for sure, from the OC. Also, Patrick and I have worked together on Heart of Dixie, and he's done so many amazing things. I think you did 6 episodes over the course of the series of the OC, which, something, right? Like 6 episodes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you have such a long career. You've directed over 150 hours of television. Some of the shows. Who would have known? Mindy, you want to say some of the shows?
I mean, some of the shows.
Some of the shows.
Yeah. Well, let's including Gossip Girl, Chuck, Friday Night Lights, Heart of Dixie, Nashville, just to name a few. But I have to tell you, Patrick, when I was doing the research, I couldn't find much more than your resume, except not even where you were born or your birthday. Tell me.
Yeah, that's top secret.
Apparently.
That's top secret. I was created in a petri dish back in the 50s. It was a very, very crazy lab out there, and I think it was Inglewood or something.
Are you from here, Patrick? You're local.
I am. I'm from California. I'm actually a native, and I grew up in the San Fernando Valley.
Hey, me too.
Yeah, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
Sure did.
I actually walked out of Van Nuys High in the 10th grade. I was done. And hit the streets because there was all kinds of hippie action going on.
That's awesome. Well, good for you.
Yeah. So I'm a Valley boy.
Yeah, I love it. Valley girl, Valley boy.
So Rachel, you grew up in the Valley as well.
I did. Yes, I went to Notre Dame. I don't know, Patrick.
Of course, I went to a lot of your carnivals.
We had good carnivals.
Speaking of, like in this episode.
Yeah, I know. It ties into the episode we're going over today.
Crazy metaphor there.
I mean, we didn't even plan it.
And I was from the world of, like, you might say, Ryan. I was a juvenile delinquent, and to the best part, and spent a lot of time in and out of Selmar Juvenile Hall out in the Valley there.
Wow.
Incorrigible for sure. But that said, that is one of the things that connected me to the OC when I watched the pilot, and I went, oh my God, I know this kid. And, in story. And I was really, really interested in what the whole concept was around this one kid coming into this neighborhood.
I mean, Van Nuys. Did you live in Van Nuys growing up?
I lived all over the Valley growing up.
Just all over, yeah.
Yeah, my mom was a single mom, and she worked in the business, and she raised 5 kids, so we'd constantly move. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, we used to move all around the Valley, but I knew the Valley well. It was my stomping grounds all through the 60s.
So you started, what I read, in the costume department. Or had you done things before? Because becoming a director isn't easy. Some people, like we talked to Tate Donovan, he got to shadow and become a director on the OC. And then Norman Buckley, our editor, became a director. How did you get into that? Did you start in costume? What's your journey?
Yeah, I got a job in 1973 in the laundry room at Warner Brothers.
Oh, nice.
And it's a time when you could apply for work. And, at a studio, they literally had employment offices. And so I applied for this job, and I got it. So I was in the laundry room, and I was on the original Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Wow.
And And it was really, really absolutely cool to start my career that way in the laundry room. Because it was just about, washing a lot of clothes, Western clothes and stuff from all the bad guys and cowboys rolling in the dirt, and then washing them, and then taking that and putting them in the dryer and, getting stoned and watching the dryer for about 4 hours. And, what a great way to break in.
Well, and that's this industry, that's well respected. A lot of times, nepotism is looked down upon. But when you start at the bottom, whether it's the laundry room or the mail room, and every aspect of this industry, that's, to our listeners, people who are interested in this, that's really the norm. You don't necessarily go to film school and just get the job as a director right away. You kind of have to learn everything.
Right.
And has that been your experience?
You know, it's interesting because I had worked literally 22 years below the line before I became a director and got the opportunity.
Wow, 22 years.
And I started in the laundry room, and I came up through costume, and I was the set costumer on the Waltons. I got put on the Waltons because there was no Betty Ford at the time, so they moved everybody to the Waltons to get them straight. You know, it was like the family show. So after Kung Fu, that's where I went. And then I just continued my career in costume and became a key costumer. And then I became a costume designer, and I was on 30-something. The last show I did was My So-Called Life. That's the last show I costumed, and that's where I made my directing deal. If I came to costume, I won 2 Emmys for 30-something, and they offered me My So-Called Life, and I said, if you guys let me direct an episode, I'm there.
That's how it works, right?
And that's how I
so
got it.
Cool.
I put it in a deal.
Wow. So your first episode, your directorial debut was on My So-Called Life.
Yes.
That's pretty
awesome.
epic, I have to say.
It was also the last costume show I designed.
I remember, is it Melissa Mayron's coat? On the numbered coat. And I remember...
Melanie Mayron, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Melanie Mayron. I remember watching that show as a young actress and thinking, it's so cool and realistic that she repeats this signature coat because we all wear the same thing all the time. And on the OC, I don't think we ever repeated anything. Did we, Rachel?
What? Any clothes?
Clothes, yeah.
I don't think...
It's not normal necessarily to do that.
It's not normal, but I like it because it's more real.
Absolutely.
You know? I think on Heart of Dixie we did. I remember that being a point. Like, let's reuse something. Let's make it a little more real. But yeah, the OC I feel like was a one and done every time.
Wow.
I think.
Did your eye for costume lend itself to directing or give you a different or a unique perspective? Or
I think I have somewhat of an imaginary palette outside the box of most directors, where I actually look for color, and I really don't look at costume anymore. It's like none of my business.
Wow.
But no, really, because I used to get notes from executives and people about what people were wearing. Because first of all, costume design is between the actress and the designer, and that's it's a very personal area what people wear, and so I always try to respect that. But I get crazy notes from people, and decided I don't want to be that person when I move on. I don't want to give people notes on their creative stuff or their choices. I'd rather just film it and go for this. Right. And if I don't like the outfit, I'll squeeze in the lens. It's like
that's
so simple.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, Patrick, anytime if I were like to see that you were going to direct the episode, I was so excited. You were just you bring so much to the set and the environment and how you shoot. I remember Dax Shepard and I bonding over you, like having a conversation because I'm pretty sure you worked with him on Parenthood.
Parenthood.
Right?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, and I remember it's just like going on and on because you are the shit.
I so appreciate that.
I mean, without like lack of a better expression, you're the shit, Patrick.
I'll be the shit. That's cool with me, man.
I think
my own flies.
I think it could be noted in the first season of a series, oftentimes they're trying out directors. We had 27 episodes, and there's so many directors that didn't come back. And is it true that you are almost auditioning to be asked back possibly? Or I know that we had more repeat.
Yeah, right now I'm hoping they bring it back. I'm just auditioning to get back on it. I miss you guys. No, it's always, the first time out is always, I went into that episode with... I watched it for the first time in years. I watched it twice.
The Heights?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one we're talking about today. Yes.
Yeah, and they weren't real happy with it when I turned it in. Yeah. At least that's what I heard through my agents. And they weren't going to give me any more episodes, basically. They weren't going to offer me any. I was, I had this thing going on during the process of shooting that episode, a lot of stuff going on in my own life. And I tried to keep it to the side and all that. But I really wanted to do this show. There was no doubt about it. I was literally in the teen world anyways, and it seems like my whole life has been even currently has been in teen shows and stuff, and younger storytelling. And when I heard about Josh Schwartz and his creative energy and his storytelling, and Bob DeLaurentis and all these wonderful people that were being hyped up to me, and I saw the pilot, and I went, oh my God, I really got to do this. The thing I didn't explain was, I had just coming out of, personally, 7 months of chemotherapy.
Oh.
And this was my first show back in the system, and first episodic show. And the thing that was going on is I had to go on with 3 more months of radiation every day. So what would happen is I kind of kept it a secret, told my agent at the time, Jack Layton, yeah, I want to do the show, I'm done with chemo, I'm ready to get back. And I got this place, Santa Monica Radiology, to open up every morning at 5:30 a.m. so I could make a 7 o'clock call. I figured that was, kind of a good way to handle it. So during production, I didn't tell anybody about this. So I'd go to radiation like at 5:30 in the morning, it was actually, line was faster than Starbucks, so it was much better. So I just get in, I'd get about, 7 million volts, and then I'd head out for the day and come to the OC set.
Incredible.
And so I think I was a little off for sure. So I had to come clean with that after I heard the results. I'm sorry for the long story, but after I heard the results of what they thought of my work. And then DeLaurentis had said, well, maybe he was a little off. We'll give him another chance. Maybe he was off his game. And they gave me another chance I was really grateful for. So then I got to keep coming back, because the next one, I was finished with radiation, and then I was just smoking weed, so it was perfect.
Right. I love that story. No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, really special to share that and be so open, about it all. And I remember learning that back then. Yeah, and just being like, wow, like he showed up every day, and you were going through all of those things, but no one would have known, which is...
But also the fact that
my hair was just growing back.
Yeah.
But when you decided to share... And, sometimes Hollywood does have a heart, because I think a lot of times it brings up something from, when you're on a series, we had so much fun on the show, and we got to go to, I was so excited to go to work all the time, but not every day was perfect in my personal life. But sometimes you got to leave that at home, and you're tired. Right. And I remember one time getting a call that my daughter, she's sick and she has pneumonia, and going, I want to go home. I can't leave.
Right.
You've got unions, and you've got schedules to keep, and I don't think people realize just how down to the minute these days are scheduled, and we have to get them done. And it's your job as a director to move it along, and you've got a shot list, and you've got a certain amount of pages to get done, and we do a lot in television.
Right.
And
you don't get sick days.
And we don't get to take off.
Yeah.
And your story kind of resonates with me in that you're going to make time for your chemo, your radiation, so that you can make the set. I mean, Hollywood it can be a pretty harsh industry, right?
But it's interesting, because my mom was in the business, and she was a production designer and costume designer, and to be able to see her leave every day, and being left with a nanny or left with my grandma or whatever, she had definitely given to me the gift of be responsible, show up no matter what. And if you have to crawl in, you crawl in. And literally this would be, and I'm dating myself, but I'm in my 49th year in the business, basically, or 48th year.
Wow.
And I have to say, I missed a few days early on, because that was during the 80s when there was a lot of blow and alcohol involved. But back in our time, I haven't missed any days as a director in any project. I've been sick, I've been whatever, but I've always showed up. And I learned that a lot from my mom.
I remember, I think this happened to Kelly. It happened to me on Nikita. My voice was down here. I mean, I completely lost my voice, and we still shot. But guess who had to ADR, which is additional dialogue recording.
You have to go in and do your
dialogue and match it, because it was just, and Kelly actually lost her voice once and it was so bad. I remember doing a scene with her and she had to do the same thing. So yeah, unless you're literally in a coma in the hospital, you're pretty much expected to show up.
Yeah.
I've had people show up and, like they've had to do like love scenes or whatever. And they're like, and they're ill. And and it's like, it's like, that's just got to be so awkward. It's like
it is, and makeup or run in, and they give you Listerine to like rinse out your mouth, like before
blow your
or
nose.
after, and try. Yeah, I mean it's really cute. I mean it's a real cute
it's always
experience.
Fun to see some of your partner hurl in a butt can somewhere off stage, and then come to a kissing scene.
Oh yeah, it all happens. The glamour everyone doesn't see, for sure. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. I am so excited about HelloFresh. Being a single mom, it's the last thing I want to think about is meal planning, especially, when you have busy days, camp, school, whatever it is. HelloFresh has been a lifesaver.
HelloFresh offers 50 menu and market items each week, including ready-to-eat salads, sandwiches, and soups. I love to cook, but sometimes I'm indecisive, and HelloFresh takes that guesswork out of dinner time. I've been loving the vegetarian meals.
According to the Zagat Dining Survey, HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store and 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal without sacrificing the quality. It's a no-brainer.
Go to HelloFresh.com/OC14 and use code OC14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping.
That's HelloFresh.com/OC14 and use code OC14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping.
We count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit.
I love Article. I have so many pieces from them. It's just super stylish and it's not that expensive. It's affordable, which I love, especially with a child who likes to trash everything. But even the desk I'm on now, what I do the podcast from is on an Article desk.
Article is the easiest way to make your space look beautiful. Even if you are just, looking to give your space a facelift, Article has excellent decor and accent pieces like lamps and throws, pillows, and rugs. I love them.
Article's newest outdoor looks, Seaside Retreat, is a must-see. This hand-picked series features elegantly designed pieces made from natural materials and is complemented by pops of bold blues, yellows, and greens. It evokes the feel of a refined beachside haven in your backyard. Gosh, this would have looked really good in the Cohen's backyard.
With Article, you can save up to 30% over traditional retail prices. Article is able to keep their prices low by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. No showrooms, no salespeople, no retail markups.
Article is fast, affordable shipping available across the USA and Canada and is free on orders over $999.
Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Go to article.com/OC and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/OC to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. I'm not in this episode. I don't know if you guys noticed, but
I noticed that. I
didn't miss me.
Oh my God. Oh, Mindy. I watched 8 and 9 together, so I just assumed you were in the whole thing. Right.
Her presence is so powerful.
It is. It just carries on no matter what.
That's right.
But I was fascinated by like how it, just talking about this, since we're talking about life, but how is, let's segueing into your philosophy on the set, because directors oftentimes in television, you guys are guests just like we are. But then when you get to repeat, you've gained the trust of the actors and I remember our set being particularly easygoing. I've been on some that aren't, where, the AD is kind of a taskmaster. And how do you keep it positive and fun, but really still get those days done? How do you keep it positive and fun, but really still get those days done?
For me, it's, I look at it like if my parents dropped me off at a play date. I mean, I walk in and literally there's $4 million worth of equipment standing around. There's 100 people moving around, and I just try to come in and enjoy the vibe and the work. And sometimes it's stressful, and sometimes that'll bleed through. But I love creative people. I just love being around creative people. That's one thing I've noticed during the pandemic that I've missed a lot. And I mean, there's creative people in my life, but it's not the same thing of when you roll in and all of a sudden you know you're going to hang with these people for 12 hours, 13, 14 hours. You've got to keep your energy, you got to keep your vibe up. You know, you really have to let people go through whatever they need to experience, especially with actors. You know, let them do their thing. Let them bring what they've studied all night to bring out to you, and don't micromanage and don't marionette them. So I try to let you have a little bit of freedom, basically, and come out and play too.
That I really do think that Peter and Adam had this real loose sense, and I think we all vibed off that, you know, doing this podcast.
There was, you know, they only did a couple scenes together in this particular episode, but when they're in the kitchen trying to figure out what to do with Ryan and he's sitting there, it's like one of my favorite scenes. It's one of my favorite scenes. And then my other favorite scene is when they're all sitting around the table after just having the shittiest day of their life, and Seth is trying to have good energy. That is such a simple scene where nobody talked but Seth, but it's the only scene where nobody talked where you could actually see what they were feeling.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down when I was watching. Well, why don't we talk about what the episode is that we're going to be going over today?
You just talked about the opening of the show, so the perfect timing. The synopsis is Ryan doesn't feel like he belongs at Harbor, and Luke isn't helping the situation. Summer keeps her friendship with Seth private, but is jealous of his relationship with Anna. Sandy accepts a case against Caleb at his new job that will test his relationship with Kirsten. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah.
The episode. It is season 1, episode 9, called The Heights, right?
Yeah. It was written by Deborah J. Fisher and Erica Messer, and directed by our Patrick Norris here.
Yes.
And it's the first day of Harbor School. And you just described the kitchen scene. And that's exactly what I wrote. Peter is so funny here. He loves teasing.
Yeah, you know, it's really weird. You know, if I were to give a note in that very first scene, I would say, Peter, don't be so creepy. It's like he's going to eat them or something, his joy of being with them.
He did have that big kind of Cheshire Cat grin.
He's the warmest, most loveliest actor in the world. And he you know, and I get it. I get where he's coming from, you know, and his support system with the boys and stuff. But that was a little creepy in there. I wish I had told him that.
I love it. I noticed, like, you know, even just from a directing standpoint, like how you go like orange juice to orange juice, and then we lead to the next scene with Summer and Marissa at Jimmy's before the first day of school. You know, there's little things you don't, like when I was younger watching, I don't see those things, but now being older and having done it for a minute, I'm like, oh, like looking at all the choices.
There's a lot of choices, and you know, one of the, I'm pretty sure it was Matt Ramsey who
was one of our editors.
Who was the editor, and I love him. He's now a director somewhere. You know, they make some choices for you, which is great. And you get in and they find a lot of those transitions and stuff, which is good. Some are definitely intentional.
Right.
But I've seen cuts where that's been taken out, or, you know, anything I've set up sometimes have been taken out through different TV shows, whatever. So I just try to give them as much as possible to play with. So a lot of choices come out of those back to back. I'm not a big fan of the dialogue back to back. Like, you know, have a perfect day.
Right.
I'm going to do this.
I feel like there was some of that in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, there is.
But that's what they want. So that's what they do.
Right.
They're still experimenting in this beginning, you know, in this first season, I think, with what works too, right?
Yeah, I think so. You know, when you come in as an episodic director and you're handed like episode 9, you're really hoping that by episode 9, everybody's worked out their characters and who they are and, what's going on and with their storylines. And a lot of the times that's not the case. And actually, I thought a lot of the cast had their characters in order here and figured out what they were doing and stuff. And then I thought some were a little bit weaker and still kind of trying to find it. But trying to be conscious of the idea that, they've been given notes. They know. Like one of my favorite delays in waiting for somebody to come to the set. This is one of my favorite things. And it's like they're on the phone with Josh Schwartz. I go, really? And they go, yeah. They want to know if they can wear their sunglasses. And it was like, it's like the dialogue was cool and stuff. They just want to know if they can wear their sunglasses. So, and what I loved about that is something that I learned is that the fact that the reason that was always asked about was because there were some scenes you really wanted to see their eyes and their reactions and their feelings and emotions. And you can't get that same thing through the glasses.
Right.
So if it was something that would lay in continuity and end up somewhere, they'd say, no, please don't wear them or whatever, And being people of the OC with money, it's like, how much money do you have if you don't have cool sunglasses? I mean, give me a break here,
Sunglasses can be a big deal in any television or film. Yes.
I remember fighting for them hard during a beach scene because the sun and the wind, like I couldn't stop crying and my makeup was coming off and I was like, you guys, like I have to wear sunglasses. Like there was no option. And they weren't, usually the props or whatever, they make it so the reflection isn't as bad with the camera, but these were just like mine I had in my purse and we just went with it.
Right.
Which is funny. But, another thing I noticed, like, I don't know if this was the first time this happened, but again, talking about, directing choices, and I know some of it's editing, but in the kitchen scene in the beginning and they're getting ready, you shot through the window of the kitchen.
Yes.
And I noticed that because I was like, I don't know if anyone. Yeah,
I noticed. The glass
think they
wasn't
took the
there.
glass. The glass wasn't there, so it's as if you were looking in the window, right?
Yeah. That scene, I recall doing that, and the reason I did that is because I had about 25 minutes to shoot that scene before they were going to pull the plug. So I put both cameras outside the window, and I shot all the close-ups and stuff head on with the master of it. And then just a lot of tight stuff to keep it moving. But the camera never moved or went anywhere. It just shot through the window. And that's how I was able to make the day with that scene as opposed to coverage like we normally do.
Right. It was smart. And I thought it was
thank
awesome.
you.
Hadn't seen that one before. So this is the first day of school. And I want to point out that this location is, I believe, called Mount St. Mary. Was it not?
Yeah.
Up at the top of Brentwood, which is a beautiful campus. It's a nursing school.
Yeah.
And so the exterior is beautiful. And then did you shoot the interiors of the school at the school and then did you copy them on set?
Yeah.
Or they were all on stage?
Interior.
Yeah, Manhattan Beach there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were on the stage, the classrooms.
Yeah, they did a good job on that production design, I thought. Putting them there.
Yeah.
I didn't go inside the school there. I was shooting in the hallways and stuff. And I was actually using longer lenses to just kind of compress it all then to make it
looks
just
bigger.
a little more rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, because everything has, you get up places, you don't know what's going to happen, but the sun is blaring down or, there's always a reason for what we do and why we do what we do. And sometimes a change has to happen, and you just got to run with it.
So the first day of school, they say this is going to be a nightmare, and then instantly Marissa and Summer say this is going to be a nightmare. That's one of those repeats.
One of those lines.
I have a hard time with those things. But I believed them. I would have believed it if just one person said it. I would have been able to believe that everybody was going to be in a nightmare this year based on
right.
But it's nice that, in case you missed it, there it is.
Yeah. And then, entering school at this point, Marissa obviously has had the overdose and all of the stuff that happened. So she's coming into school with a lot of people judging and talking shit. But I just like how Summer has her back.
Yeah.
Like,
Summer
from the get-go.
Summer's cool. You did a good job with that role. You really did.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, you did. And, if anything, you brought energy. You brought almost like we could feel you coming before you appeared. There was
that's
this
a big compliment. Thanks.
Yeah, it was wonderful energy. And because, Marissa would play it a little low and low key, and she did a lot of looking around and stuff, and there wasn't really much there, so you would constantly you were a good anchor for her and to bring her through and, get her from one mark to the other.
She's got some pretty distinct one-liners. Hey, Horace, why don't you work another corner?
Work another corner. Yeah.
One of my favorites. I couldn't get away with saying that today.
She's pretty fearless. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Summer's definitely fearless. That's a character for sure.
That was a good line. But I think character-wise, that was really great. That really was like, okay, we know that you're taking care of her. You're going to be the mission for her. Because I love the way you confront everybody, whether you confront Ryan or Luke, anybody that's coming into her space, you stand up to in such a wonderful way. And then when you're protecting your own space, you're a little more reserved. Although we get the point through your look, through what you're given on a look, like with Anna and stuff. So.
I think that's so true. She's pretty unfiltered, but then when it's about her, it's a different story.
That's when you pull in, and which most people really do.
Right.
If you don't want to have conflict in the moment.
Right.
I love some of the vulnerability that we're seeing from Ryan here. He's trying to convince Marissa, to ditch the kickoff carnival and let's just go. That's kind of, he doesn't, everyone's so uncomfortable. And then at the end of that scene, you see that he's kind of standing there and you see that he's looking at that couple who's making out. And,
by the way, how did you get background to fully make out with tongue? Because I noticed that and I was like, oh, they really went for it. Was that a note from you, Patrick? Because
No. I think what it is that that was a scripted moment for sure.
Yeah.
And that's two different scenes we're kind of talking about, I think. Because Ryan wasn't he? Because in this scene you're talking about with the kiss, he was reading a book and trying to get reading going. And then,
okay, that comes later.
And then, that comes later. But that's okay. Let's talk about
I'm sorry.
that kiss.
We jump around here sometimes.
That's all right. I'm good with it. But I just wanted to let you know I'm paying attention.
When they say mental health is a journey, they mean it. That's why it's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness every day. When you work on yourself, it brings positive changes in all areas of your life.
The long-term effects of therapy can give you the tools to deal with challenges as they arise, strengthen your relationships, and give you a more positive outlook on life. There's no better time to invest in yourself than right now. I am a huge advocate for therapy. It has helped me progress and grow in so many ways, and there have been a lot of challenges, especially this past year, and I'm so grateful for it.
Talkspace lets you send and receive unlimited messages with your dedicated therapist in the Talkspace platform 24/7. With Talkspace, you set goals with your therapist and they hold you accountable and make sure that you're really progressing. Therapy can help shift your perspective, find tools to cope in difficult times, and be a guiding light. We all need someone to talk to, but we need the right someone for confusing times or stressful situations. That right person will be compassionate, non-judgmental, and safe. And safe is how I feel about therapy.
Talkspace is also affordable. It's a fraction of the cost of in-person therapy, and it's completely secure and private.
As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com. Make sure to use the code THEOC to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's THEOC and Talkspace.com.
Apostrophe. Fun fact, most home remedies and over-the-counter acne products don't work. And even worse, they can really damage your skin. I have always struggled with this, and it's shocking to know that I'm still struggling with this in my late 30s. It's fun. Thank goodness for apostrophe.
I've had problem skin most of my life and I've tried everything, but I think the worst advice that I ever got was that you had to dry out that acne, and that's so harsh, and that's actually worse for your skin.
But do you know what actually does work? Prescription treatments. That's why we're excited to partner with Apostrophe, the sponsor of this episode.
Apostrophe is a prescription skincare company that offers science-backed oral and topical medications that are clinically proven to help clear acne. I took the online questionnaire about my skin issues and history, which were rosacea, some hormonal breakouts and fine lines. And now I use an extra gentle product that addresses all of these issues.
My visit was super quick, was way easier than having to drive to the dermatologist's office and have an appointment there. I loved how I got a plan tailored to me, created by a real board-certified dermatologist.
We have a special deal for our audience. Save $15 off your first visit with a board-certified dermatologist at apostrophe.com/theoc when you use our code THEOC. This code is only available to our listeners.
To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/theoc and click begin visit. Then use our code THEOC at sign up and you'll get $15 off your dermatology visit. That's apostrophe.com/theoc and use that code, the OC, to get your dermatology visit and save $15. And we thank Apostrophe for sponsoring the podcast. Over the place.
It's definitely a scripted beat. And, we end up bringing in a specialty act, so to speak, of a boyfriend, girlfriend that know each other.
Right.
So
it's not two random people you bring in and are like, make out.
Exactly. And, it's fascinating to me that we do that. We bring them in, we say, okay, go for it. So, there are 80 people standing around. These people have to kiss. So you kind of wait until it's kind of hot before you cut the camera, So people start out, and I've actually had this problem with, not problem, but I've had fun with this with Peter and Kelly in certain scenes I've done with them in shows that were coming up where they'd be kissing and stuff. And I wouldn't cut the camera and I'd just go for it. And, Kelly would beg me to cut the camera.
Yeah.
She'd come up for air and say, you got to cut this back.
That's actually in one of the blooper reels. She's like, can we cut? And Peter's like, no.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they go at it in this episode. They're fully hooking up.
They had a pretty sexy scene here. And, close up, I was like, she's wearing fishnets. That's pretty hot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was she? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, in the morning.
They had great chemistry. But everybody in the show has somewhat of great chemistry, I always had a little problem with Ryan because, there's a certain air that he brings in and you really have to kind of like run with it. And, I wasn't sure whether after a note he was going to punch me or take the note. And I think he came into this character and he'd show up in character. So it was always hard to kind of loosen him up and get him to smile and stuff like that because he was always in this kind of like, I guess in his head, more so than in the spirit of the moment. So, it was always a little trying to tweak to get him to smile or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
It's he is the cool boy from the wrong side of the tracks, but he still is in this brand new world. So maybe that awkwardness kind of lent itself to him,
I'm
definitely
the fucking
layered.
cool guy from the side of the track.
Okay.
I'm that guy. So I was trying to bring, and look, I can go off. I'm going to be 68 this year. Anyways, the idea is that I was trying to influence him into bringing a little more of his mystery and a little more of his romantic vibe as opposed to his gangster vibe into the scene.
Right.
And sometimes he would go there, but a lot of times he was resistant to go there.
Huh.
And I don't know what that was really about, but it was kind of a chore sometimes to make it happen. And that's not a dig. That's not a dig on him. I'm just saying some people bring different shit,
I was young enough on this show. I learned so much on this show, and it was with the attitude of I'm going to work and I'm going to take chances and I'm going to experiment, and it might fall flat or it might, it might work. And sometimes they, I'd get notes and say they really like that. Continue with that. Or you could see that something you've done before, all of a sudden it was reflected in a new script. So it was, we don't learn from being perfect every time. We learn from trying different things. So, anyway.
Right. But again, it's something that you bring to it. That's something, y'all bring to it, which is great. Like, in a way to me, it was like, I love Adam so much. And I think he's so talented and I think he's so creative. And And I would see him struggle with certain lines that he just couldn't get to say, that he personally just didn't want to say, and stuff. And, and I used to say to him, dude, you're a great actor. You should just pretend you like the lines and say them and we can get out of here.
That's a simple. That's a voice of wisdom. Let's just go home.
Exactly. Yeah. Motivation.
Yeah.
What I liked about this episode was it introduces the trio of Anna, Seth, and Summer, which creates a fun triangle dynamic that obviously plays out for a while.
Right.
But that Anna tells Seth that she'll help train him.
Kind of reluctantly, but is it a way to stay close to him?
Yeah, reluctantly.
'Cause she likes him.
Summer's just treating him like shit still, like not giving him the time of day. But I really like that this starts to come out in this episode. But there's a lot of other things going on. Ryan's really getting into school, so he wants to try out for the soccer team. Luke plays the same position in the soccer team, so that's going to be an issue. The Anna and Seth and Summer thing is progressing. Like they're all in a class together, and I walk in and there's no seat, and like Seth offers it up. I'm like, come on, dude! Like even me, like I'm like watching, and I'm like, come on, like have some game, buddy. Like you can't just give up the seat. And this exchange I thought was funny with Anna and Summer, who are obviously already going at it. I'm like, sailing is not the quickest way to get anywhere. I'm like, just so stupid. But I liked the dynamic starting, and she's like dishing it back to her and stuff.
I did want to point out, just from the parent perspective, I really love that, that we got to see Peter or Sandy in his lawyer role in the show. And this was for me, because I grew up in Orange County, I was aware of this, and I had to point this out, that the storyline for the Balboa Heights, I think it parallels something called the Bolsa Chica Ecological Reserve. And it was a century worth of all kinds of oil drilling and development. I just think it's very smart that Josh always tends to reflect the realism of what Orange County is. And there is an ecological reserve there, and it's exactly what this storyline did, and it just really helps the audience understand who this character is. That Peter's going to stand up for what's right, and then you have Kirsten, who's a strong woman and formidable on her own, and there's such a deep mutual respect. Neither one is a pushover, and I just love that dynamic in this episode.
They are a very cool couple, I think. I think in the sense, both in their own lives, I'm sure, but in just television couple life. You do believe that Peter is that guy that's going to defend the planet, where Kirsten's going to definitely, shake things up as well, because she's a powerhouse.
Right.
And I also like the idea in the scenes that the confrontation scenes weren't these drawn out drama battles. It was just simple, plain. Like she hits him in the chest with a bag, saying, "I brought you lunch." You get it. You don't need to go any farther. She's pissed. And then when he comes in with flowers, you get it. He's trying to, just kind of pull back.
And the mark of a really healthy marriage is that they get it out and then they recover pretty quickly. And that's it doesn't damage, because this is going to happen. And I just really love how they reflected that that's what a healthy marriage is.
Since I've been going on the Seth, Summer, Anna thing, I just want to say there's the scene where they're in biology or whatever it is, and there's a dead frog, right?
Yes.
And we had real dead frogs. Like, I don't know if you can get away with that now. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, if they're dead already, whatever. I don't know. PETA.
For science.
For science.
Yeah.
But so a little behind the scenes story, we were shooting this episode. Obviously, there was a plethora of dead frogs. And it was around my birthday. And, we were very much into having fun with each other. So it's my birthday, and Adam got me a present, and it was wrapped, and he gave it to me. I was like, wow, that's really sweet. That's kind of weird. And I opened it, and he wrapped a dead frog for me.
Were you dating?
For my birthday.
at the time?
I don't know if we were dating yet or not. I have no idea. But that was like the first prank that set off like a spiral of pranks on set.
Nice.
But that was the first one where I guess props gave him a dead frog. And maybe I was like super grossed out by it when we were shooting. There had to have been a story, you know, I'm sure I was just like disgusted because anyway. But yeah, he wrapped it up all nice, or maybe he had somebody do it, but left it in my trailer.
Oh my God.
And I think it sat there for a while. I don't think I opened it right away. I didn't do it till I got home, which was even better. And that was the beginning of the end.
There were more pranks as the series went on.
Oh yeah, I have a picture of the trailer door. I took like fake blood from props. It's like dye and like handprints, like murder. It was really
I love it.
Stupid, but we just kept going there, and I have proof of that one. So that's the one I can remember mostly. But yeah, we all started having pranks with each other.
I think it's interesting, and I've seen it because I've moved through different casts all my life. But you all become somewhat of a family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
You spend so much time together and you spend so many hours away from your natural people. And it's like you become this tribe of pranks and drama and whatever, you know. But it's always impressed me. And I've been on a lot of different shows where that cast is so tight. It makes everything just kind of move smooth. It just does, you know. And then, I mean, and this isn't just you, Rachel, but I'll just say, you know, then sometimes they become in relationships over seasons, you know. So now
Never
you
heard
got
of such a thing.
No, then you got all these other dramas going on, and you know, and. You know, it's interesting. It's like it's almost like working on another planet. It's like I remember the first time I worked in New Zealand, I was thinking, "Oh, am I still married? I'm over the international date line. How does this work?" You know, but of course, you know, you end up, you know, just trying to find your way in life in these long hours.
Right.
And we become in relationships. We break up relationships. Whatever, you know. It's like a normal world after a while within the hub of a TV show.
But it gets close really quick when you're spending 14 hours a day together.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I was very grateful to have gone through it at the time with Adam and have that support, and we kind of, you know, had the same experience at the same time. So being that young and going through it together was a really cool thing, you know.
Well, you guys were cool. You guys were cool to hang with. You know,
we were all right.
Like, yeah, for sure you were. It's like, you know, it's again, you know, I God, so many times sitting out at 4 a.m. on that stage, just trying to get done, and by the pool house there, and it was always. And, you know, I won't point fingers, but it always took a long time to light, and it always took all that stuff. And we gave up a lot to give entertainment, you know. And I always remember, like, even when we were shooting at the beach all nights or whatever in the experience, I'd be sitting out at the beach and up there in Zuma or whatever, up by a lifeguard station with a fire going, and the cast is near the fire doing a scene. I'm freezing my ass off on the back end of the camera. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm doing this for a group of people who are home at 8 o'clock on a Thursday or Wednesday night or whenever it aired, and they're safe, and this is what I'm doing this for.
I always mentioned to people that whenever you see a nighttime scene, you have to remember we started at 6 p.m. and we probably finished at 6, maybe even 10 a.m. because...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with the carnival in this episode. You know, the carnival in this episode...
Yeah,
I was booked. That's my favorite act, by the way. Just in color and production value and all that. It's one of my favorites. But the fact of the matter is, it's where we were in Marina Del Rey, and we took up a parking lot. We figured out where the Ferris wheel was going to go. And
did they do their own carnival
for the show?
Yeah,
carnival for it.
Yeah. It was huge. I mean, there's so much going on, and that's what I really wanted to talk to you about, because this was a huge scene for the show, but also a huge scene to shoot. You know, everything was like, this was a really big one.
It was big, and we had a techno crane that would go up with the Ferris wheel and all that stuff.
We didn't have drones then, right?
No drones going on.
So explain what a technocrane is like. For
Technocrane is an extension. It's it'll extend out to like you can get them at 30 feet, 50 feet, 85 feet, and we had like an 85-foot one to get up to the top with the where we could meet them in the seat and have this beautiful view behind them. It was very well choreographed, everything, I thought. And for me, that morning, I had my radiation at 5:30 a.m. And to what you said about coming in at 6, my call wasn't until 6 that night. So that day, I was a little off. So I was up already, and then I showed up at like 5 o'clock to figure my night out, really, everything I had to shoot. And it was summertime, so we only had like 9 hours, really, technically. 9 or 10 hours at the most.
It was only one evening shooting the whole carnival?
Yeah. It was just one night. Yeah, I remember, yeah.
They had three nights for just one party in the pilot.
Yeah, well, yay, Doug. Lucky him.
Right. Doug Lyman, who directed the pilot, yeah.
But anyway, so I was a little off anyways, but I'm just saying, once we got there and I started working there, when you're up in the Ferris wheel, and there's one shot where you look down and you see those spinny spin and all that where Ryan's supposed to get.
Yeah, the tilt-a-whirl, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that was the last shot of the night, and that was right when it was dawn. Okay, that was right. That last shot was at dawn.
And you're racing.
Racing, and then, and I couldn't be late for radiation the next morning. So I went right from there to radiation again.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. But anyways, I'm just saying, it's like we go, we do it, we make it happen. We try to get it done within a certain amount of time, and we have to.
Right.
So, and you're really hoping everything will go smooth. You're really hoping that somebody could throw that ball on the, that whatever that game was, and hit the 1,000-point mark. You're really hoping somebody could do that, know. Yeah. And I remember we waited around for people to do it. I don't know, the prop guy did it. A few people tried it. It's like burning up time. I'm going, shit, man, I got to do this and that. And we're trying to get this insert,
Right. But this was their first kiss, Ryan and Marissa.
Yeah.
Right? So this was like a big moment. Like,
It was really a big moment. And
and
the only thing I could say to Ryan was think of Luke. No, just kidding. I just
said this joke keeps coming up for some reason.
That keeps that everyone was in love with Luke, or that Ryan was in love with Luke.
I think so. I think that's where it should have gone. But I'm not a writer. I'm not a showrunner. That would have been my choice. I think that would have been great. Maybe a little early before its time, but.
I want to say that Misha was so photogenic and beautiful, but particularly in the Ferris wheel, there was just
the
this
lighting
ethereal, beautiful, and when they kissed, I was like, yes, finally.
You feel it. I actually cried watching this episode when they kissed on the Ferris wheel, and I was actually texting with Ben McKenzie and Josh Schwartz yesterday, or whenever it was, and I told him I just watched the Ferris wheel and I was crying. And I just I don't know, it's just really just the emotion behind it and the time and the song, which was Paint the Silence by South, we've learned. It just leaves such a lasting impression in how you shot it and how beautiful it looked and how beautiful they were and how he doesn't even notice, he was afraid of heights. He doesn't even notice it because he was kissing Marissa. It's just very sweet.
It was a classic storybook moment and fairy tale moment up there. For sure. And, I think if I would have done a few more choices if I had the time in anxiety levels and eyes closed and open and stuff,
right.
Sometimes you just, even as an episodic director, you just don't get enough time to really try and get there in a different fashion or a different mold, or at least have something else to present. I got the best I could out of that. And I was happy with the ending of it. I really was.
Right.
And all the movement and the color and where we were in the environment.
It's beautiful to watch, to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
I'm a fan of the show. And I do enjoy, rewatching it. It's been such a pleasure.
I know we should end with the kiss, but at the carnival, the Seth Anna thing, and she kisses him because she really wants to tell him she likes him. I have to say, he gives her the sock monkey he won.
Oh.
And me personally, watching it, even though I was somewhere on the show or whatever, I was like, you have to be with Anna. Like, I fully felt that. They played that so well. Samira Armstrong, who is Anna, and Adam Brody, like, I just felt it. And I just had to say that they did an awesome job. And I was rooting for them watching it.
Well, and I think that also, that brings up for me, because I remember when it came to a point of where they had to make a choice, I think.
Right.
In story of where
they did.
Where this was all going to go. So I think your instinct was right to actually believe that as an audience, as a fan or whatever. And me too. Because I questioned it in the sense of like, shouldn't he, even when I watched it, I said, he should have brought that over to Summer.
Right.
I think that would have really helped him to bring that over,
Right.
But no, now I see the master plan as I watch it.
Right.
But what ultimately is happening is he doesn't quite realize the feelings he's starting to have for her. They're becoming genuine, and they're really, here's for my friend. So is she, I love that the audience was torn. There was definitely some Team Anna and Team Summer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to think, when in doubt, give the monkey to Luke. That's what I think. Or the
Luke is the fallback in all areas. Everyone's just like,
Luke's our man.
Luke is our man.
Yeah.
For sure.
We love Chris Carmack.
Yeah, I actually got to work with Chris on Nashville later on in time.
Right.
Yeah.
So did I. Wait, Patrick, I was on Nashville for a minute, but I don't think you did any of that.
You were there after they learned how to hate me.
Well, no.
But that said, I know you went and did Nashville too.
I did.
Yeah.
I did it for a minute, and I got to work with Chris again, which was so cool.
There you go.
Yeah, he's just the best. Such a sweet guy.
Your resume had so many shows that I've done that I actually went through our resumes to see if possibly you had directed any of the ones.
Connection.
And I'm like, there was a Chuck and a Vampire Diaries, and I was like, nope, never found one. But we got to work with you on this.
Well, we got that moment in the OC. That's always a blessing.
Absolutely.
Well, we do. Do we want to give Patrick some questions, Min?
Yeah.
Are these like things that I'll really know, or?
Yeah, you would know.
I don't know.
Well, because they're from this episode.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Just remember, there's been a lot of weed between then and now. So
Even better. Let's hear what you come up with.
That's a recurring theme on this show, we're finding.
That's right. I know. Apparently, everyone was just really stoned. Okay. Go ahead, Min. You take the first one.
Okay. How long has Seth liked Summer?
Oh, I thought he liked her for a long time. Like for, I actually don't know. I don't know the answer to this. I know that he liked her for the first 32 minutes of my show. But I don't know I thought it was during the summer that he actually connected with her off camera, so to speak. But I don't know.
No, actually, since he was 10. It was, I think it's a line in the script. I think he says,
it's a line in the episode. He says, I've liked her since I was 10.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, here's another one. See if you know this one. Is Ryan team cotton candy or funnel cakes?
Oh, for sure, cotton candy.
There you go. For sure.
Yes, that is correct. I had to look. I'm like, I don't know.
And what soccer position is Ryan playing in this episode?
Splinter?
Close. It does start with an S.
Striker.
What's it called?
Striker.
That's it. I wasn't a soccer player. I'm not a sports guy. I'm not.
But you have that poster behind you of
LeBron and Kobe are my men. They're
that's understandable. That is, yes.
Yeah, those guys are my if I was to be into sports, they would be my gods.
You know what? That is a good choice. For sure.
Yeah. I just love what they bring to the world. And I miss, like we always used to go to see Kobe in games. So I miss him tremendously. But, I just love who they are in spirit and in life. So,
yeah. That's awesome.
Well, we love who you are in spirit and in life. And we thank you so much for sharing and being so honest and brutally. And I love that. And
well, that's sweet. Thank you for having me. I've really, like I said, I've really enjoyed being and just getting the call to come do this.
We get to make
really
people
phenomenal.
Patrick, we just love you. And
we love you.
Thank you so much. And I really hope I get to see you soon.
Yes.
Well, you will sooner or later.
Yeah, sooner or later.
All right, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Great day.
You're a
Thank
gem.
you.
Thank you.
Anyways, everybody,
Yeah.
we are going to listen to some voicemails of some lovely people that have called in to ask us some questions.
Okay.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Melinda. I'm Niskafix, and I have a question on both of you. What was the most awkward moment while recording the OC? Something which was really unpleasant to you?
Something comes to my head instantly.
You go first. Yeah, go.
Well, we'll talk about it when we get there, but and I know that it was really well received, but the whole Julie did a porno was really awkward.
Why would that be awkward, Mindy?
And then I remember having to do the scene, and it was and I think it was kind of Josh's tease to Doug Lyman. It was the porn identity, and she's got amnesia. And it's like, I have amnesia and a pizza boy. And then I actually had to do a scene that was extremely uncomfortable for me. But
I don't know why. I just don't get it.
There you go.
That's actually awesome. Gosh, I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind was just dressing up as Wonder Woman, like having to put the whole thing on. It's a little awkward. Fully, like I had so much hair and so much makeup and the whole bodysuit and everything. Anytime people bring it up. Yeah, anytime people bring it up, I'm like, oh God, like I had to be in the full-on getup. And it definitely wasn't something that I was like, yeah, like I'm wondering. I was more like, oh my God, this is kind of embarrassing. Not a porno, but...
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be a difficult storyline, but then I'd read like that in some magazine, they're like, the best storyline recently on the OC is this. I'm like, really? Okay.
People want to see Julie Cooper in porn. What can I say?
Oh, I'm turning bright red.
Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
Let's stop embarrassing you.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Melinda. My name is Annabelle. I am talking from Brazil. I was really happy when I heard about the podcast. I think it's going to be a huge success, and I hope all the best for you. Okay, about my question, I was wondering, would you say that the show can still talk to teenagers and young adults? Can they still relate to the characters' problems, dilemmas? What do you think? Thanks a lot. I'm going to freak out if I hear my question on the air. Thanks a lot. Love you. Bye.
Aw, that was sweet. Thank you for calling in, by the way.
That's adorable.
Well, Mindy, having had a teenage daughter kind of go through high school, you can probably speak to this.
Well, I think, first of all, these are universal themes. And I think I've said this before, that my daughter refused to watch it until a few years ago. She's 21 now, but she didn't watch it until she was 18. Probably because I kept telling her she should watch it. But when she finally did, she loved it. And she said, I finally understand what you're saying, Mom, about it being, smart and funny and has an extra little unique essence as opposed to some of the other shows that she was used to watching, teen shows. So from the testimony of my daughter, yes, they definitely can relate.
Yes, I would agree.
Okay.
the issues, they're all, I think, still things kids go through.
That was so fun. I love having different perspectives from our actors and writers, producers. Yeah, really, really cool to get everyone's take. And especially this episode, which was such a pivotal one, and the first kiss and everything, and having Patrick, who we all adored tremendously, do it. And we're so happy he came on. Absolutely. So thanks for joining us today, and hopefully you will all follow, rate, and review Welcome to the OC, bitches, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you like to watch us, please check it out on YouTube. You can see Rachel's cute curly hair.
I know. I guess I didn't realize it happened. Well, yeah, it is. Here it is, and it's grown, like I said, over the episode. Hello.
Okay, guys. Thanks for listening. We love you.